All right, so chapter 2, part 7. I think I'm going to end it here. I guess 7 parts again. So you could say that my aunt being she blew up her spot, but it needed to be blown up. This conversation needed to be had. It was definitely the elephant in the room. I remember saying a little bit in the middle of we all shared a little bit of, our experiences with men who had been inappropriate with us. Men who are being inappropriate with us. We were girls, not young ladies, not young women. We were children. We were girls. We were teenage girls, not no fast-ass girls, not no fast-tailed girls, even if any of them were. We were children. He was a grown-ass man. There is no excuse for this. None. It is disgusting. Disgusting. And it's inexcusable. So, we talked a little bit about it in the circle. When everything was said and done, I spilled my guts to her. And that was the first time I felt safe to do so. And I told her everything. And she said, okay, we're going home. We're going to have a family meeting right now. I don't know any other response that would have been appropriate in that time. The only other thing that should have happened, not probably, is charges should have been pressed. Charges were never pressed against this man. So we come home. She calls an emergency family meeting. So it's her husband, who is my father's brother, my mother, and my father. I believe my best friend was there for moral support. And my aunt, she calls everything out and she tells everybody, the adults, what happened. I am sitting there. And the first thing that my father says is, she shouldn't have been in a grown man's face. I gotten kind of good at disassociating. So to this day, I don't remember everything that happened. I do know he called me a hoe. I do know he blames me, and he specifically said I shouldn't have been in a grown man's face. Those were his initial responses. He never took responsibility. Once again, it was my fault. He never showed any compassion or concern. It just seemed like, once again, I did something to him. And I know I disassociated. I remember vaguely that his brother got angry with him. And I think his brother either was about to beat him up or fight him, or there was some altercation between the two of them. I know that they began fighting amongst each other, not physically, but, there was some back and forth. And something along the line of them not agreeing with my father. My mom a little bit spoke up for me, but whenever she would kind of speak up for herself or tell him that he was wrong concerning her kids, he would always just shut her down, and she would comply. And again, they got married and she was a child, and she was raised to be that way. I do know that she said something to him, and I remember him saying exactly this to her, because by this time I'm packing my bags and I'm leaving to go stay with my best friend. There's no way I'm staying in the house after me saying this and you calling me a hoe. And my plan was that I wanted to just live there and complete my high school, my high school year, the next year there, with her and her mother and father. But they would not allow that. And they wound up moving again and making me move with them. But anyway, back to that night. I'm packing up. And I remember my father saying to my mother, if you don't like it, you can get out too. And she shut up. I wish, I learned through my psychologist or two that the mind-body connection is pretty incredible, and there's a lot of things that your brain will shut down and will not allow you to recall if it's too much. And a lot of this that I'm sharing has been repressed for decades until it was time to deal with it and heal. And here I am doing that. that was it. As far as, I think that period in time broke whatever was left for me of a parental bond between me and my parents, and it was irreparable. You can try to pretend like we're a great, good-looking first family, and that I'm supposed to be some freaking role models to people just because I'm the freaking pastor's daughter, and always got to have good grades, always got to, no matter what, smile, and things like that. And but on the inside, from that period of my life on, maybe I was the black sheep. I didn't ask for it. And then there were a lot of stories that got repeated all around the country to all this family that doesn't know me, but they think they know me because they saw me when I was a kid, or they know my father. And from that moment on, there was this story that's continued to circulate, and all these people talking about me and talking around me, but never, ever talking to me or ever asking me. No one pressed charges. No one protected me. No one looked out for me. It was all about protecting something else. I don't know what. Protecting the church, I guess. I never got therapy. Nothing. And it was just like, we're supposed to just go on like this didn't happen. So much so that, there were, for the rest of my life, I had to go be in my parents' house, and even go back to my parents' house and see these newspaper articles on the wall that still had this man's picture in it. He died shortly after. He died, I think, a year or so later. And I've heard conflicting stories about how he died. I heard some people say that it was a car accident. Then I heard some people say that it was a car accident that was set up to kill him. I don't know. I've heard some people say that my dad and his brother were involved in this car accident. I think that's cap. Maybe that's something that somebody made up to make themselves feel better. But I don't know. All I know is he died in some other state in a car accident. And the way that I found out is it was the summer before my senior year of high school. We had moved again, and I was staying with a lady who was a mentor that summer. I just did not want to be around my parents, so every moment that I can get out and be somewhere else, I just try to. And my father called me at her house in Dallas, and I answered the phone. There was caller ID was not a thing then, so I didn't know it was him. And I'm answering her phone, and this is what he says to me: no hello, no nothing, no disclaimer, no you want to sit down for this. This is so cruel, and no, I have not forgiven him for this. I can't. He said to me, "So yeah, your little boyfriend just died." I'm completely confused, because I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, my little boyfriend just died. Like, I don't have a boyfriend. I know I had dated this little boy when I was in 8th grade, and he was a freshman. His nickname was Snoop. And I'm like, he died? No, he didn't. Like, me and his sister are best friends. I know he good. Like, I'm sure somebody else would have called me and told me this. So I'm really confused. And then he said the guy's name, Mal. Mal just died. And that dissociative thing kind of happened again. And now I understand that it's something that happens, like, it's like your brain trying to protect you from overload, or from, I don't know, falling apart or something, or maybe spazzing out. Because that happened again, and I was kind of just despondent. And then he went on to, say lots of words, basically meaning he died in a car accident. And my father went to his funeral. And the feeling of betrayal. This man violated me. You went to his funeral. He honored him. This man's brother still goes to my dad's church to this day, and he looks just like him. And when I go there, I have to, when I would force myself to still go to that church, because I knew that I would not remain in my dad's good graces and be a good part of the family if I didn't go to his church. So when I would force myself to go, I also had to try my best to brace myself for looking this monster in the eye, because they have the same exact eyes. So when I'm looking at this guy, I'm looking at his dead brother who killed a big part of me. All right. I feel like there's more to say, but I'm going to just go ahead and end it here. And go be a mom.